I'm gonna give you 9 pieces of knowledge that you need to know to break 90 99% of the time. Why? Because people love alliteration. And we're gonna play 9 holes. So, if you're thinking you're one of the people that can't break 90, you're wrong. Anyone can break 90. As long as you're not a brand new golfer and you can move the ball that direction, you can break 90. And I'm gonna tell you how you can do that even if you are not having a good day. Now, one of the first things that you need to know is breaking 90 allows for a lot of mistakes. If you're playing a par 70, you can have a bogey on every single hole and still break, you shoot an 88, math. If you're playing a par 72, you only need 1 par, so you don't need good golf. So what does that mean in terms of playing golf? Well, let's first break down the first piece of knowledge that you need to know is you don't need much to actually break 90. But one of the first most important things in priority that you need to do is not lose the ball. So how do we not lose the ball? Well, you don't pick clubs that will lose the ball. I'm gonna play 2 different shots, 2 different balls. I hit a light 5-iron up there, probably like 160. That's not how far my 5-iron usually goes, but I'm just showing you the point. Play a slice. You need to always be looking what's on the right side of the course, because on this kind of hole, if you play a slice, you can't play a slice here because there's trees blocking your left. And if you go right, you're out of bounds. So automatically, it is not a driver hole if you play a slice. So if you have a really bad tee shot, okay, well now I chose a more aggressive approach because I wanted some distance. And now what are we? Now we're automatically 1 back because we hit a bad tee shot because I chose the more aggressive approach. So you can see with our tee shot, well, you can't see, but we didn't go very far with the tee shot. And that's for a certain point. Hitting the ball a short way off the tee, you can hit the ball 100 yards off the tee and you can still break 90. It doesn't require that much. But as long as you don't lose the ball off the tee, you will be in a good direction. Now the mistake that people think when they're not hitting it very far off the tee is, okay, well now I have to get it up there. I have like 230 left. Well, now I need to get something way up there, when reality is you don't need to. Remember, you only need bogeys. You don't need pars. So all I can do, I could just chip another one up there and still be all right. We're playing in the rough today. So as long as you are not losing the ball and wasting a complete shot off the tee, well then you're going to be in a much better place 90% of the time when trying to break 90. Ooh, go in. Oh, so now this is our par chance. So all we need to do is 2-putt from here and we're okay. And we didn't hit any solid shots all the way down here. We just hit very simple punch shots with the 5-iron. And it's fine. And we got the bogey. And it's very simple. So you don't need any length and aggression off the tee because that's going to lose you the ball or put you in a mistake where I am now required to take an extra shot that is not gonna move me forward, and then we're just wasting. Another good piece of knowledge combined with don't lose the ball off the tee is that your tee shot is free. Now this is the philosophy golf sidekick talks about a lot. But if you think about it in this way of adding +1 to every single hole, let's say you have a 400-yard par 4. That's pretty intimidating to a lot of golfers, especially new golfers. Now let's say you had a 250-yard par 4. That's pretty simple. Most people are like, I'm gonna go for the green. And that is what you can envision with these tee shots. So I can take a 9-iron off of here and chop off 150 yards off of this club, or a 7-iron, whatever your 150-yard club is. But I could take a 150-yard shot and take off 150 yards for free off the tee. And let me explain a little bit more. And I know my 150-yard club, I'm not going to lose the ball. So now we only have 210 yards left into the green. That's very simple. I could do a 110 shot and a 110 shot, 2 wedges, and still get on for par. But you can choose your most confident club in this point. I'm gonna choose a 7-iron and just chip one up there because we only have 210 left and we're playing for the bogey. So the tee shot subtracted 150 yards from me. So from now, this is my new tee box. Oh, we hit it left. That's fine. So in reality, you just want to choose your most confident club off the tee. Doesn't matter if it's 100 yards, doesn't matter if it's 150. It could be 200. But anything that you're not gonna lose the ball, hit that off the tee, don't lose the ball, and now you subtracted that much distance from the rest of the hole, and now you just play that as the par 4, the par 3, the par 5. I didn't think I would hit that. Wow. Now, rule number 3 to breaking 90 is to know and be honest with your numbers. Now, you may think you hit the driver far, but you don't, because you don't hit it consistent enough to do that. Collars up. So if I don't know my numbers and I'm hitting driver, now I could be deluding myself thinking I hit it 280. Maybe in reality I hit it 220. But if I don't know my numbers and I'm trying to delude myself into thinking I hit it further than I actually do, well, I don't know how to play proper course management because I don't know what this club takes into account. So is it going to take into account that water? Is it going to potentially go out of bounds? Is there a bunker in the way? Well, I don't know because I'm not being honest with myself with these clubs. So if I think I hit it really far, but I hit a slice, well, now I hit it into the water because why? I mean, what was the reward of actually hitting driver there when I don't know the distance that it actually goes? So instead, once you learn your numbers, well, then you need to be honest with yourself of, okay, well, I know I'm going to hit this 5-iron. Let's just say it goes 180. Well, I know 180. Now I can look on the GPS or I can zap it. It's in that big open area. Well, now I know I can play proper course management because all I need to do is aim for that big open area, and that's the safest spot. And we're applying the other rules of not losing the ball into this, so I don't even need to hit it that far. But now I am safe. I'm not in the water because I did not choose a stupid club that I'm trying to envision. Well, how far do I actually hit it? I don't really know. Yada, yada, yada. You gotta be honest with yourself on how far you hit your clubs. I don't have too many balls to be risking like that for demonstration purposes, but we're gonna continue. So now let's say I have 155 yards left. If I don't know properly which club goes between 135 and 165, which is the range of the green, it's gonna be very hard for me to choose which club to hit. Because if I choose the wrong club, we're not even talking about lies yet, but if I choose the wrong club, I could be in the water. So if I don't know my distances yet, well, then I would want to play the safest shot possible. Let me show you the shot and let me show you the risky shot. So the risky shot would be going for the green, obviously. Now, if you are confident with your club, your 155 club, you know what club that is, well, then you could just hit that ball and you're completely fine. That might even be in the hole. But if you hit it chunky or if you hit a little short, well, then you could be possibly in the water. And if you don't know your distances, I just played with a few people, don't know the distances, they're choosing 3 different clubs for the same yardage every other hole. Well, then all you need to do is chip it into somewhere safe. I'm gonna avoid all the water and I'm just gonna bunt one down there because we don't need the pars. Remember, we just need bogeys. So now I'm just gonna put myself into a wedge range and go from there. Now, wedges are another area where you need to learn how do I manipulate this club to hit different distances. You can't always full swing. So if you know your 100-yard swing with your club, that's the best way to learn how to take things off, because now I can just hit halfway down if I need to hit a 50-yard shot, or 80% in my mind if I need to hit an 80-yard shot. But if I need to hit a 100-yard shot, well, then I know it's my full swing. So learning how to control your wedges is going to be a very important skill. But if you can leave yourself into wedges where they're a little bit more full, not hard swings, you may be better off. So that requires better course management, which we'll talk more about. But we see now we have 2 different holes, 2 different approaches. One is for par and the other one is for birdie, because I took the safe approach off the tee and I know my numbers. Ooh, a little aggressive. And of course, you leave that one short. What are you doing? Rule number 4 is you are allowed to lay up more than you actually think you should. You gotta get your ego out of the way and recognize when you can or cannot hit the shot. Can you get the ball on the tee? What? In the case of this, we are gonna go for it, bald eagle. Now we're gonna go for one, and then we're gonna lay up on the other one. And it's going to take 2 different decisions on that process. Now, if I have a confident 160 club, great. If I know I'm gonna hit that shot 9 times out of 10, I can go for it. If I don't know I'm gonna hit it 9 times out of 10, you wanna lay up, even on a par 3. Because if I look at this direction, there's water, and way to the left is out of bounds. So if I need to lay up, I'm just gonna chip one out there into that little collection fairway area, not risk the water, and just be completely safe. Because it's better than losing a ball into the water and needing to re-tee or drop it into a potentially bad area. So I just chipped one out there into the little collection area, and now we're gonna have a very easy wedge, if not a putt on. And I'm gonna hit an aggressive one and see, can we make it? Now, 9 times out of 10, we know we're gonna hit this club very hard. We know we're gonna hit this club dude, this tee is allergic to golf balls. We know we're gonna hit this ball where we want it, at least the distance. But if something bad happens, well, then we're introducing the risk of water. And do we need to introduce it? So you need to ask yourself and be honest with yourself is, can I hit this ball where I want it 9 times out of 10? And if you can, go for it. If you can't, well, then just lay up. Now we have 2 shots that are close to the hole, 2 different weight. Now in this sort of scenario, it's a good question to ask yourself, should I putt this or should I hit a wedge? Now if you have the confidence to hit a wedge, well, hit the wedge. It's pretty tricky, but there's a lot of rough, so you need to be confident with it. But if you're not confident with it, well, hit the putt. Oh, it just kept running. I think we could do better than that with the putter, but it's wet, so we don't really know. And that's why I don't like putting it off the green. But the point is figuring out which one you were most confident with when you are on little areas like this, 9 times out of 10. Even so, we can still putt this from here. And we're playing for the bogey. This is for a par, so we don't even need it, but we'll go for it. And the good thing about playing for bogeys is pars will come in and they will happen naturally. Proper course management involves 3 things: knowing your numbers, knowing your shot shape, and accepting reality. Now, a lot of people will think and see this hole, they play a big slice, they're like, oh, this is perfect. It's a dog leg left. I can just pull up my driver and whack it as hard as I can. Maybe. But if you do that and you whack it and if you don't know the numbers it takes to, say, get over those trees, well, then you might slice it too short. You might slice it back into the tee box area. You might do a lot of things that you didn't take proper course management into the equation. Because once again, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know how big my slice is going to be. So if you don't know your slice only goes like 220 because you're putting 4,000 RPMs of side spin on it, well, then this ball is going to go nowhere and it's not going to reach those trees. So if you are not playing proper course management, well, then you are just hitting and hoping. You need to hit and know where's this ball going to end up. And you can hit a lot of different shots rather than just going for the most obvious one. The most obvious one from this one is aim over those trees and hope for the best. But if you don't have that shot in you, you're not playing course management, you're playing hit and hope, which is not going to be a good way to break 9. So now, because you've been playing hit and hope off the tee, well, now you didn't know about this, you hit into the rough. I don't know where my ball is, so I'm just gonna drop it over here like most people do. And now I gotta hit and hope again because the pin's over there. So what am I gonna do? Well, I got a window. So I'm just gonna try to hit it through the window, hit and hope. Trees are 90% air, right? But now I'm automatically +1 because I hit and hope off the tee. Oh, it was so close. So close. If that tree didn't get in the way, then it would have been all right. But now you're talking about, oh, well, if I didn't know where that rough was, if I had a gallery, spotting my ball, I would have found it in that rough. If I had 2 more inches, I wouldn't have clipped the tree. Now I need to make up and down for the bogey. And now I have a tricky wedge shot, but for what? Hitting and hoping? Ooh, almost dunked it. So instead of playing course management, you're playing hit and hope. And now I got to make this long putt after a great chip for a bogey versus if I just hit it 100 yards into the fairway, I would have an easy angle to get up this way and probably even be closer to the hole than this point for my bogey putt. And now you're like, oh, It's a little knee knocker. It's 3 feet. For the double bogey, you lip out. Now you made a max for hitting and hoping. Don't hit and hope. Understanding proper course management and think about, okay, well, what clubs can actually do what I want them to do and what is needed for this hole. Not what is a hole my friend's asking me to do. Hit it over those trees and you're good. Just play it a very simple way. Look at that bird. You see that bird on the tee marker? Another big mistake that people fall into is the delusional confidence. Once you start getting better at golf, you're hitting more shots, maybe you're practicing more, you start hitting shots on the range with longer clubs, and you're like, all right, it feels really good on the range. But then you get out, I'm starting to think it's me, but now you get out, and you're like, all right, well, this is perfect. This is what I've been practicing the entire time. However, maybe it hasn't been working today, and you keep trying it because you're like, I've been practicing this, and I'm gonna keep on going for it. So you are delusionally confident that you can do it because you've been practicing it. And maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you hook it into a tree, but then what? If you keep trying to do that over and over and over, you're just gonna rack up more score because your delusional ego. You do need confidence to actually be able to hit good shots, but you don't want delusional confidence. If I've been hitting a fade and I've been hitting it pretty consistently on the range, well, now I don't know how it's going to play in the rough. I don't know how it's gonna play with this wind. I don't know how it's gonna play with these trees. And I don't know if my fade is actually big enough that I've been practicing to get to my target. So now I'm gonna play a fade because I've been hitting the fade on the range. This is calling for a fade around these trees and to get it back into the fairway. Can I actually do it? Or is that delusional confidence? Well, now I hit a draw, I hooked it, it went straight, and now is it in the water? I don't think it's in the water. Since I don't feel like looking for my ball, I'm just gonna drop over here. But the sentiment remains the same, where if you don't know how the lie affects the ball and slopes and different things like that, it's gonna be much, needs to be, okay, I know I can do it on the course, I know I can do it on the range in a flat, simple condition. Can I do that with different lies? So it's gonna take much more practice for you to figure out, how do I hit this fade out of the rough on an uphill slope? You probably can't do it, right? So you wouldn't necessarily put that shot. So you need different course management depending on many different circumstances. The wind, the lies, those kind of things you want to start to learn. You don't need to learn, you just need to stop losing the ball. But once you start learning how does the lie affect things, well, then you can play much better course management. But I don't want to delude myself into thinking this shot is going to be the same as on the range. And you know, I fall into that trap. Just like this wedge shot is going to be different than if I was 2 more yards right there in the fairway because I got the rough. I ain't even gonna make it. Yes, it is. But if I hit that same shot right there, it might have been long. And the reality is that you're thinking a lot differently on the course when there's scores and pressure versus on the range when there is no pressure. You can make a mistake and it's not a problem. But on the range, 20 yards offline, you know, it still can look like a good shot. But if I do that on the course, well, that could be in some trees, that could be in a bush, in some rough. Also, you're just thinking differently, right? So if you think differently, your body's gonna behave differently. On the range, I hit draws all day with my driver. On the course, I still hit slices. Why is that happening? Well, there's a lot of reasons why that could be happening. But just don't let your ego win. That's kind of the big thing, because otherwise you're not gonna be able to play proper course management, which is needed to break night. At number 8, I think, right? So we are in this little corridor, right? And within that, to play proper course management, this flies over my head. To play proper course management, you wanna know where your ball is starting and you wanna know where your ball is ending. Why do I need to know where it starts? Well, let's envision -1 is to the left, 0 is in the middle, +1 is to the right. If I play a big old slice and my ball starts to the left and slings back, can I hit a driver here? Probably not, because I may hit some trees, right? It's the same thing if I play a big old hook. Can I play a driver here? Probably not, because I hit a tree, right? And you also have to take into consideration, if I start my ball to the left here and it does not come back, well, then it's gonna go straight into the trees. So if my start line is aiming out of bounds, 1, you need to be really confident that the ball is going to come back inbounds. But 2, you need to think about, this may not be the hole for this club. I may just need to get one out of this corridor or away from the hazard or anything like that, and then go from there. Now this is gonna be my last tip because I'm running out of time and I gotta go home, get to work, help people out with their psychology rather than the golf. But you need a good short game. Short game is gonna be one of the most important things because I've shown you that you can hit it 100 yards off the tee and be all right. But your short game, you're always going to need. If you're trying to break 90 and you're not breaking 90, if you're not breaking 100, you're gonna be scrambling most of the time. And if you have a short game where you're chunking it, hitting it into water, you're not going to be able to scramble properly. The thing that we don't want to happen is the thing like where we end up like this. We're in a position, third shot, let's say, and I gotta kind of hit it over water, and I'm not confident with it, right? So I don't want to scull it, I don't want to hit it way over the green, I don't want to chunk it into the water. So you need to have the most confidence with your short game just to be able to get the ball in the air that way. You don't need much. Most of the time, you just need less hands involved, a wider turn, follow through, and you're probably good to go. Don't make the short game complicated. It's complicated enough. All you need to do, wide arms, get the ball on the green, and you're good to go. So practice that short game, and you are gonna be breaking 90 in no time.